How did you end up with that German Luger?
After the war ended, we stayed at our base for a couple weeks, and then they transferred us to the 301st, which was just outside of Foggia. They were consolidating people, and at that time they were getting ready to form some groups to fly up to northern Italy, who would be flying food into the various areas for various people. I didn't get involved in that. So we were transferred to the 301st, and I made friends with a fellow who was in California who was with a different group. I don't recall whether it was a 301st or another one. And he had this Luger. He had this Luger, and he sold it to me for $5 or something like that. $10, 10 in lira. Lira wasn't worth anything anyway. I brought it home. We never fired it, except Chuck did later on when he was working for Fletcher's. They took it down to Davison, Michigan, to a gunsmith there, and they put a new firing pin in it, and he fired it. He used it for a while. But I think maybe that pin broke or something happened, and he was advised not to use it anymore. That gun had a serial number on it, but it also had some X's on it, which led him to believe that maybe it was a defective weapon. I don't know. But that's how I came to get it.
Why don't you open the boxes up and...
Well, this is the air medal, and it is with 3 clusters. The air medal was awarded to anyone when they flew 5 missions. And then after 10, or after, I'm not sure if it was after every 5 or not. I got the first air medal after the 5th mission. And I can't, okay, it must have been after every 10 after that, you got one.
You got an old cluster, you mean?
An old cluster.
Okay.
For the medal. And you also got a small lapel pin, so you can put it on your civilian suit.
Okay. And then that top bar goes on your uniform?
This goes on the, this whole thing goes on the uniform.
Okay.
This you would wear on your uniform.
Okay.
That's the medal you kept.
That
But
didn't-
for formal things, you would wear the medal itself. Otherwise, you just wear the pin.
the bar?
And if you had a suit on and you wanted to show you had the air medal, you'd wear that.
Okay. That was fairly common then.
Everybody
You earned
flew a mission, 5 missions, got the medal. Everybody.
You certainly earned it, but it was fairly common. Now
And
this,
in fact, in the book somewhere is a picture of me receiving the medal from the commanding officer,
okay.
which they did of everybody. And this then is a Distinguished Flying Cross, which was awarded for unusual events, and it had to do with our plane being heavily damaged, and bringing it safely back to the base.
Which mission?
I'd have to look it up. I
Don't remember.
This is our squadron insignia, Mammy Yoakum, for the 817th Bomb Squadron of the 483rd Bomb Group of the 15th Air Force. This is a picture taken of our crew in Tampa, Florida, shortly after we were assembled as a crew and were flying practice missions. Today, the pilot, Ken Quick, is deceased, having died in the 1960s, and Eddie Davenport from Georgia, a waist gunner, died 6 years ago, 2 weeks before he was to, along with myself and a couple others, attend our first reunions of the 483rd Bomb Group Association in St. Paul, Minnesota. This is me. This is the navigator and the bombardier. This is the other waist gunner, also from Georgia, who attends all of our reunions, along with Dick Floyd and Don Nizer. And this is Lauren Danielson, who was from Marquette, Michigan, who now lives in Washington State and has started attending the meetings, the reunions with us the last 3 or 4 years. This is Marv Baker, the ball turret gunner and also the oldest man on the crew, who has attended all of the meetings that I have with the exception of 2. And this is Marshall Gullickson, who was the tail gunner. He being also almost the biggest man on the crew at the time. So he was in a very confined space. He has only attended 1 reunion. When we went to St. Paul for our first reunion, he, who lived not too far away in Wisconsin, had just had heart surgery and was unable to attend. He came to the next one in Omaha, but none since then. And this was the top turret gunner and mechanic on the plane, Jack Dunning from Pennsylvania, and he now attends all of the meetings. This is an album that I put together after the war because I was able to acquire a number of maps and actual bomb strike photos which were made available in our squadron after the war had ended. And since they had no use for them, we were able to take whatever we wanted. Unfortunately, by the time I got there, all of the silk maps had been taken up. These are just pictures of the crew around the plane, which again were taken in Tampa while we were in our original training missions. I was looking for something to show. This is relating to our trip overseas. We left Manchester, New Hampshire on September the 17th, and we arrived in Valley, Wales on the 23rd. This is a map which was given to all military personnel in England. All personnel who were traveling as we were. We left the replacement depot in the morning, took a train down to London, this being an area of London, which told us where we could get meals and where the American embassy was and so on. And then that evening, we caught a sleeper train to Newquay, England, which is at Land's End, and from there we were ferried over to Italy, to Naples. Some of this, well, that's the hotel we stayed at. The Great Western Hotel for transients. Now this, let's see what we got here. All right, this is the refugee type picture which I mentioned that could be used for falsifying a passport in case we were shot down. And the back was slit from one end to the other, and you just put your arms in it, and you can see that I look much like a refugee. This was a combat pass that we carried on the missions, with which was printed in several languages. I haven't looked at it in a long time. It was a picture and with identification, as I say, in several languages. And this, of course, was a 1 lira, which would be the equivalent of 1 cent at one time. And I don't think it was worth that at the end. Right after we got to Italy, to the group, we attended a party they were having to celebrate the fact that the group had flown 100 missions. And this was a dinner in Foggia. In honor of that. This is a ticket, and with it a bunch of stubs for various things at the hotel we went to on the Isle of Capri for rest camp. And it happened that we were there over Christmas vacation, at Christmas time.
Okay.
Now, I was able to get a pass after the war and went to Rome, where we attended an audience of Pope Pius. Here are some pictures which will show you, well, this is being a formation, vapor trails, and here is some 88 millimeter flak,
Okay.
the black flak.
That's typical of what
Typical,
you would
right.
would have seen.
Yeah. Now here are some pictures. Here's a picture of a plane going down in flames. It's been shot up pretty badly. You can't see the fuselage for the fire. Here is a plane with 2 engines feathered, and here is a chute just starting to open
Oh, yeah.
with
yeah.
the person attached. Now this is one of our planes that came back after taking a hit close enough that it knocked out the entire structure on the one side.
That's from
From
your
the-
group?
Yes, from our group, from our squadron. Captain Glass flew it. That was before we got there though.
Oh, okay.
And this is a typical map that was passed out to the lead planes, which indicated with appropriate circles, mileage and so on to the target area. And then on the back side
Yeah.
was an aerial photo. And whoever had used this particular map for a target had indicated what
Oh,
the
yeah.
specific target was to be.
That's the Danube, eh? Sounds right.
That's Regensburg, yeah. Right. And then, of course,
That says mission number 1. That was your first one.
that was the first one, yes.
Maribor, Salzburg.
I'm trying to find some photographs.
This is your Purple Heart.
Purple Heart for Davenport,
Okay.
who was a waist gunner. Here is a picture, again, this being Bleckhammer, a synthetic oil refinery that was to be attacked. Here is a picture with some light smoke, and I'm not sure what that's from. It would not be from here. You can see here some
Oh,
bombs
yeah,
on their
yeah.
way to the target.
Yeah.
So the target's got to be up here somewhere
Because of the motion.
because of the motion. Yes.
It says here, airmail.
Well, that would be the 5th mission then. Yeah, there's
Oh,
the-
there's that picture.
there's the
Slide that
picture.
over.
All right. That being the 5th mission, I was awarded the Air Medal along with a number of other people. You can't see it in this photograph, but people are lined up here waiting to come around to get their Air Medal.